The most competitive league in the world comes to an end. Well, game week 11 comes to an end. Serie A game week 11 comes to an end. And I feel like we have a lot to talk about. Managers have been sacked. Managers have been replaced. Managers are on the verge of being sacked. Teams have lost. Managers are throwing their toys out of the pram. Some teams lack mentality. Some teams are proving everybody wrong, including myself. We have a lot to talk about. We genuinely have a lot to talk about. I feel like it's only right to start off with probably the main talking point when it comes to Serie A, when it comes to Italian football, the fall off of Napoli. Like, where do you even start? Like, this is a team that arguably, I feel like collectively, everybody was united that watches Serie A in saying Napoli had the best summer transfer window. They brought in some good players. I admired the fact that they recruited from within. So, like, from within the Serie A, like players that are proven in Italian football, players that show we can perform in this league, like from Bucama, from Bologna, from Milinkovic-Savic, the goalkeeper. And I was actually like, I'll be honest with you guys, heading into the season, I was looking at Napoli and I was thinking, if there is a period where they might fall off, it might be Champions League football, because I really have now gotten to a point where I question whether or not Conte cares about that competition in the slightest. And to be fair, like, history will always remember him as being an amazing, if not the best league manager in the world, but his resume when it comes to the Champions League is diabolical. But I was like never expecting them to have this fall off in the Serie A, and they look crap. Like, with all due respect, they look crap. They haven't scored in their last 3 games. They lost to Bologna. Now, don't get me wrong, Italiano is doing an amazing job. Like, bearing in mind, he lost a lot of his players in the summer. He lost Endoi, he lost Bucama, and he's just found a way to get to work with the players that he's brought in, the players that have stayed behind. They lose 2-0 to Bologna. What do you guys make of the game? What do you guys make of the game? I think like Bologna, let's just start off with them. Impressive, aggressive, so difficult to beat them at home turf. They've got the momentum, they've got the confidence at the moment. It is Italiano's like second season with this team, and you can see like that growth, you can see that player development. I actually think this might be his last season at Bologna, because I think a lot of teams in the Serie A will be looking at him and saying, if this is what you can do, whilst also playing 2 games a week in both seasons, not having the most, like, let's be real, not the best of squads, not having the best of squad depth, but you can still go to toe with the big teams and come out on top. I think this is his last season at Bologna. Conte, Napoli, he's throwing his toys out of the pram, and I'll be honest with you guys, I like Conte, I respect what he's done in the game, but I don't respect when he starts to behave like a little child, like a little spoiled brat, because, like, I'm trying to be respectful, because I feel like he's been fed with a silver spoon. Like, he's won the golden ticket this summer, which is De Laurentiis has backed him. Like, he's told him, listen, stay on board. Stay on board. Let's build on this Scudetto win. We seriously can dominate the Serie A for the next 2 to 3, 4 years. For example, Inter, at the time in the summer, Inter have just lost Simone Inzaghi, and they were our main competitors. Milan, it's a brand new idea, a brand new project with Allegri. You've also got, like, the hindrance of, like, Redbird Capital owning them. Juve, you don't know what Juve is turning up. Tudor and now Spalletti, and then also Juve's board. Like, the recruitment, the lack of planning. Like, I think De Laurentiis was looking at Conte and saying, we can actually go maybe back to back, maybe win it 3 years in a row. Like, you can now work with these players. It's your second season with them. A lot of them are Scudetto winners from even prior to you coming. And I think Napoli have been shocking tactically. Like, I've made a video on it. I think the way he's managed some of the players has been really poor this season. Like, I look at somebody like Noah Lang, like, whenever he comes onto the pitch, he looks good. But I feel like now all confidence has been taken out of him, because he knows I can come on and drop a 10 out of 10 performance and Conte won't reward me with a start. Like, it's not great. And I'll be honest, like, I've read his comments after the game, which is, like, maybe it's time to get to it. Maybe it's time to get with reality, which is we might finish 10th. The board needs to be aware of this. There's now talks that a massive sit down is being prepared behind with De Laurentiis, the Napoli board, and Conte. And I asked myself one question: what is the need for this? Like, genuinely, what is the need for this? If I was De Laurentiis, I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, I backed you financially more than I've backed any manager in my history as at Napoli. I've backed you more than I've backed anybody else. I've brought you in players that, like, are proven, experienced, like players still in the prime years of their career, players that can have an impact whilst you still retaining Your whole squad, let's be honest. When you look at Napoli, who did they lose in the summer? Who did they lose? Who did they lose that contributed to last year's success? Like from the top of my head, I can't really think of anybody. From the top of my head, I can't really think of anybody. Yeah, Lukaku is injured, but everybody's still there. Anguissa's still there. Lobotka's still there. McTominay is still there. Politano is still there. Buongiorno is still there. Rahmani is still there. But on top of that, you've got yourself Oliveira. You've got yourself KDB. You've got yourself Noah Lang. You've got yourself Milinkovic-Savic. I'll be real. When it comes to Conte, no excuses whatsoever. And I see a lot of people saying this is like the yearly Antonio Conte rant, and he's just asking for the sack. He wants the paycheck. He wants to be paid out. It's not a good look. I'll be real. It's not a good look because when you look at Napoli this season, I don't look at them and say, in terms of their squad, they're lacking. Fair enough, in attack, I don't think Højlund is good, and I said it at the beginning. I think Luka was never good. Like last season, the way people were speaking about Luka, I never ever saw the hype in him. Lukaku is a big miss, but the best of coaches find a way to make it work. They find a way to paper over the cracks until their main player returns. You think Milan don't have injuries, Juve don't have injuries, Roma don't even have a striker, bro. Roma don't even have a striker. Dovbyk is not favoured by Gasperini. Evan Ferguson was the person that they put all their eggs into. Injury after injury, there's a possibility that he might return back to Brighton in January. They're finding a way to make it work. And by the way, Gasperini's first season with these players. It's not like Conte who's now having his second season with these players. I don't respect anything that Conte is doing. I don't respect anything that he's saying. I think financially he's been backed. I think he's retained his squad. He's improved his squad. The fact that he hasn't managed to get anything out of those new signings, it comes down to his tactics and maybe the way he's just managing them. Like, fair enough, Conte is one of those guys where players will run through a brick wall for him. But I feel like this generation of footballers, especially the younger ones, you need to cater towards them. And listen, he's in a position where he could truly do something fascinating with Napoli, but I feel like he's like sabotaging, if you know what I mean. Like, I really want to see how they look after the international break, because if you're going to throw the Champions League out the window, then you better deliver a Scudetto. And the fact that I'm looking at them, and like every week when I do a predictions, I'm like, I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're getting a point. And I'm proven right every single week. It says a lot about Conte, because let's not turn around and say, oh, he's missing KDB. He didn't get anything out of KDB. I don't think KDB's been great in a Napoli shirt. So there's a lot of trouble over there, and I think all of it will be addressed from a proper sit down with the players, maybe readjusting the team tactically, but he's got a lot of work in the second half of the season. It wasn't a great performance against Bologna. It was toothless, hardly anything going on in attack, struggling to defend whilst having some of the most like talented of defenders. So that's when it comes to Napoli. He's got a lot of work to do. Trust me, a lot of work to do, because I feel like, yes, he's a guy that can win you a league title, but I think teams nowadays are looking at him and saying, for all the damage that you cause, it's not worth getting that one league title, and then you've just left us in a far deeper mess, which might take us 2 to 3 years to fix. So I wouldn't be surprised if after Napoli, like, not many teams are looking at Conte. Like, fair enough, Juve might look at him, but I think Juve are also looking at him at the moment and saying, like, the fall off from grace, like, great 12 months, and then a shambolic 3-4 months to start the season. He's got a lot of work to do for me in the second half of the season. Then should we go Roma? Roma win 2-0. Listen, they're joint top with Inter. If I was the Roma board, if I was Gasperini, I'm looking at that Roma board and I'm telling them, listen, look at what I've done with just a preseason. He was backed financially, but of course you could seriously make a case he could have been backed more. But I'll be looking at them and telling them, look at what I'm doing with no striker. Dovbyk, you know I don't like him. You know I don't favour him. You know he's surplus to requirements. I'm playing Sule. I'm playing Pellegrini. I'm finding a way to get something out of Dovbyk. Evan Ferguson has hardly featured, yeah? Like, he's doing it all without a focal point, without a striker. And Gasperini's system relies so heavily on, like, that Scamacca type of profile striker. He doesn't even have that at Roma, and he sits joint first. I'd be looking at them and telling them, get me a striker in January, and I could maybe do something, which hasn't been done since, when was the last time Roma won a league? Was it 2002, 2003? I'm about to do something which hasn't been done in 2 decades. Just get me that striker, because I feel like that's what this team needs. That's what this team needs. I think defensively they're solid. I think in midfield they're so aggressive, like Kone, Cristante, the wing backs, so difficult. Like, don't get me wrong, they concede opportunities, but I feel like they're so aggressive in the center of the park. Their press is so penetrative. They've got really talented players in attack. I love Sule. I think Sule is an amazing player. Pellegrini, I've always liked him, but he's had a poor like 12 to 18 months, but you could see he's picking up. Did you see the goal that Selic scored, the Turkish player? Bro, I'm talking, like, that was some of the nicest football I've seen Roma play this season. We're talking switches from left to right, dragging the opposition, exploiting the space. It was such a lovely team goal. We're talking, like, I think 15 passes in the space of a minute. Good goal. They sit top of the league. They need a striker. I think without a striker, they will fall off, but they'll still have enough quality maybe to get into the top four. But with a striker, they can have a full go at it in the second half of the season. Because I think Gasparini's working wonders at the moment. No striker, like literally no striker, and you're still finding a way to grind out results. Now, imagine if you have a striker that can just bring something to the table, like just 20-30% than Dovbyk or Evan Ferguson. I would definitely, like, I feel like this is the perfect opportunity, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel like sometimes as board members, you have to roll the dice and you have to assess the situation. And I think they're looking at it and thinking, if it's not now, it's probably never. If it's not now, it's probably never for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Just like how history has shown us. This is the perfect opportunity. Let's go all out. Let's throw the kitchen sink at it. Who do you want? As long as they're affordable, let's go out and get them. But Roma, they look dominant. They win. They're beginning to pick up. What's next? Shall we go Milan? Parma 2-2. They bottle a 2-0 lead. I think it's pretty ludicrous for somebody to say that Milan pick up 2 out of a possible 9 points against Parma, Cremonese, and Pizza. It's crazy. Like, it should genuinely be 9 out of 9. And if it was 9 out of 9, Milan would be top of the league. Like, Milan, I feel like the big games, the Fiorentinas, they win. The Romas, they win. The Napolis, they win. But then the easy opposition, they don't win. And you can question the mentality a lot. But I feel like the game against Parma, they created so many opportunities. I feel like the game against Cremonese, they created opportunities. The game against Pizza, they created opportunities. They just need to be lethal. They need to be clinical. I think Allegri needs to sit down these players and tell them, listen, if we're going to keep dropping points to the small teams, but winning the big teams, I can already tell you where we will finish at the end of the season. We will finish in the top 4, but we will always look back on the season and say, we could have done something special. The moment you guys switch it on against the smaller teams and stop underestimating them, stop taking your foot off the gas, stop dilly-dallying and trying to score the perfect goal. To be a Serie A winner, to be a league winner across the world, you have to be a killer. You have to have that killer instinct. You have to show no mercy, home, away, rainy conditions, sunny conditions, injuries, suspensions. You go out there and you get the job done. And with Milan, I feel like they get the job done against the big teams, against the mid-table teams. But the small teams, where they should be putting them to the sword, I feel like with this season, they've gone into every game underestimating them. Like, Parma, I don't think they underestimate Parma as much as they underestimate Pizza and Cremonese. But I feel like against Parma, like, they were trying to score the perfect goal. Like, in particular, Salamakers, he was trying to score the perfect goal. He was trying to get the perfect highlight reel. And because of that, Milan dropped points. I really want to see them after the international break, because I feel like after the international break, they can really, like, capitalize, because that's when the Champions League is going to start coming every single week. Then we're talking Coppa Italia. We're talking Super Coppa. Milan will have an opportunity to seriously, for the next 3-4 months, just play one game whilst everyone else is suffering, playing 2 games every 7 days. But they need to, like, dig within and show that killer instinct. Juve, Torino, the Turin Derby. I'm not really expecting much from Spalletti. I think it's like very, very, very early. But the problem is, like, at what period of the season do you start expecting something from Spalletti? Like, it's not like for example, I'm looking at Spalletti and I'm thinking this is game week 1 for him. But in reality, it isn't. Like, his first game was game week 10. His second game was game week 11. He needs to start getting results. I think Juve looked good. I think against Torino, they looked very, very, very blunt. Like, they looked very toothless. Torino are a difficult team. Like, they beat Napoli this season. Like, they are difficult to break down. And I feel like when it's a derby, like, every player will give you an extra 20-30%. I feel like Spalletti, after the international break, I think, one, he might actually move away from the back 5. One part of me thinks after the international break, he moves away from the back 5. But then one part of me thinks he's looking at the defenders and thinking, if I move away from the back 5, I'm in big trouble, because I don't have, like, outside of Bremer, who's not the most reliable, I don't really have 2 solid centre-backs to defend with a row of 4. So I might need to sacrifice a midfielder, sacrifice an attacker, just to field an extra defender, because, like, with 3 defenders, you guys are still vulnerable and open. Imagine with 2. But I think after the international break, Juve have a lot to play for. Like, they have a lot of ground that needs making up, especially in the Champions League. I think like, I'll be real, like, not to come across deluded, but I think Juve should be looking at the Serie A season so far and thinking, if we can get our groove on and we can start winning some games on a consistent basis, like, we can go for this league. Like, we seriously can. Like, fair enough, we're not as penetrative as an Inter. We're not maybe as solid in midfield as an Inter, but I'll be real. Like, I don't think the best team in every department always wins the league every single season. Like Napoli last season, they won the league. I never looked at Napoli and thought, you guys are the best team in the Serie A. I just felt like defensively they were so good and they knew how to grind out results. Inter, for example, they are hammering teams, but I don't look at Inter defensively and think they are amazing. I think you can definitely get the beating of them with that high line. You don't have to be the complete package to win a league title. Yes, sometimes you need to create your own luck, but you just need to master a part of the game, whether it's putting the ball into the back of net, stopping the opposition. And with Juve, like, as wild as it may sound, I said it in my review, if they can just start to get 50% more out of David, Openda, and those type of players, it will give them a massive boost. Because at the moment with Juve, I think they're struggling to score goals. They're struggling to create opportunities. And I think, like, a breath of fresh air, some new signings into the team will definitely give them a boost. Last game, well, there's 2 more games. Atalanta 0, Sassuolo 3. Juric is on the verge of being sacked. If by the time this video is uploaded, he's already been sacked. He's been replaced by Palladino. I think Juric was having an okay start to the season, but I think he's done a lot of damage with that whole Ademola Lookman situation in the Champions League, which is pretty ludicrous because I feel like Juric won the golden ticket after how badly he stank it out in the Premier League with Southampton. Like, he basically failed upwards. He genuinely failed upwards. He stank it out. He got relegated. And then he walks into a Champions League winning team in Atalanta. And you still behave the way you're behaving. And, like, practically falling out with the best player in a team. A player that this team is so desperate to retain and keep and just maintain his price value. I think now Lookman wants out more than he wanted out in the summer. And because of that, his price tag has now been slashed by at least 20-25%. And it's because of Juric. Maybe Palladino can come in and, like, fix a relationship and, like, get something out of him. But I think Lookman is out. Whether it's January or in the summer, this is officially his last season. Palladino is a very, very, very nice appointment. And I think Palladino can do a lot of good things with this team. And the fact that they've accumulated a decent amount of points in the Champions League. So, like, Palladino is actually walking in to a very talented squad. In a relatively good position. Like, I don't think Juric has been as bad, but I think Juric, the man management side, is what's resulted in him getting sacked. Genoa, Fiorentina, the derby of the 2 teams that sacked their managers. Okay, and when it comes to Fiorentina, I think there's a lot to say about Fiorentina, like, outside of just, like, this little quick summary. I don't think they played well. I think, is it Vanoli that they've appointed? I'm not going to turn around and tell you guys I know a lot about him, but from the briefly what I know about him, I've never been impressed with him. Like, during his time at Venezia, it's a disgusting appointment. I'm going to be real. Like, it's just, how do you go from, like, Palladino and what Palladino was doing last season and, like, the upwards trajectory and how this project was looking so appealing. You could sell it to so many young players across the world. Like, Fiorentina were on the rise last season, like, with Palladino. Like, how bad of a project must you have presented to Palladino for him to turn around and be like, I don't want no part of this, I'm stepping down? Like, how bad of a project was this? You bring in Pioli, you give him a shit ton of money, you sack him, and now he's still getting paid, sat on the sofa, probably looking forward to Christmas knowing money's dropping in his account every single month. It's just a shit show at board level. And then Vanoli, like, what? Like the thing is, I thought maybe Motta, but I don't think they were in a position to even convince somebody like Motta. Like, the fact that you pushed away Palladino because of how bad your project is, you wouldn't be able to bring in somebody like Motta, who's going to want the assurances and the control that he had at Bologna to revolutionize them. It's bad. It's so bad. And you know what's crazy? I always look at that squad and think it's so talented. It's got so many good players. But that squad is about to be dismantled in the summer. Every single one of them is leaving. I think Moise Kean is leaving. I really like that Amir Richardson kid in midfield. I think he's gone. I think Dodo, the fullback, is gone. I think Kamutso is gone. I wouldn't be surprised if a team takes a pounce on somebody like David De Gea. It's such a shame. It was a good team. It was well constructed. You had yourself a very promising young manager. But it's just when members at board level keep making mistake after mistake after mistake, eventually you're going to force everybody out. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on another one.